This will be my impressions video of The Secret World. This is based on the beta weekend, which actually recently happened, and the game will fully release on June 19th by Funcom. Before I get into actual mechanics or anything really solid about the game, I'd like to refer to the pre-order options that Funcom is offering for The Secret World. And I'm going to do this because I find some of them a little BS and some of them possibly indicative of the business model that the game is trying to pursue, or will be pursuing eventually. So we'll start with the digital version. That's going to come in at $50. We get beta weekend access, which starts May 11th. Of course, that one already occurred. Assuming they're going to do beta weekends for the additional 2 factions, you'll have 2 more shots at that. Early game access, 1 to 4 days, character name reservation, an XP boosting in-game item, in-game t-shirt, an in-game pet which will give you a heal over time, and 30 days of game time. Pretty standard, fair price, what I would expect, great. But then we get into the packs that Funcom is offering. And firstly, we start with the Initiate Pack. This is going to be additional $15 plus the $50 for the game. In this pack, we will get a Raven, which is a social flying pet, a set of high-end beginning weapons, and a faction-inspired jacket for character. Something I may not buy personally, but other people may, and it's not that outlandish. Then we get into the Master Pack. This is an additional $60. We will get 30 days game time. This is plus the original free 30 days game time from the digital version. So we'll take $15 off that $60 value. An additional character slot, name reservation, a set of talismans for each slot, and times 10 of XP potions. So we'll be generous here and attribute about a $20 value for those past items I just ran off. Now that's going to leave us with a total of $25 to attribute to the last item we get in the Master Pack, which is a 10% lifetime discount on social items in the store. If you do some simple math, you're going to find out this is gonna mean that you have to spend $250 on social items to benefit from this 10% discount. And this is where the train starts to wreck for me. But it gets worse because we go now to the Grand Master Pack. At a whopping $200 additional dollars, we will firstly get all master content, so we'll take that $60 value off originally, which leaves us with $140 to attribute to a lifetime sub we get through this pack. A lifetime sub may be nice. You could run some math and find out that we'll have to play about 10 months to pay this off. And keep in mind that we get 2 additional free months from having the Master Pack and just the regular digital version. This is going to come to a total of a year worth of play, which coincidentally is the time in which I find that, well, I feel that this game is going to go free to play. So although I don't want to say this now, and I really hope I'm wrong, I could see them saying, okay, you got, all the Grandmaster Pack purchasers got their value, game's free to play now, oh well. In addition to this, you can also, if you didn't spend enough money on this, you could buy additional character slots for $10 each, and additional name reservations for $10. But enough of that, let's show you some dialogue from a cutscene, which will give you an insight on some of the story, which I feel is the strongest point of The Secret World.
Jeez, you never saw anything like this in the cop shows. Well, maybe on cable, not the network ones. You wouldn't know it from looking out there, but before that wicked bad fog rolled in, Kingsmouth was a sleepy little burg. Nothing stronger on the streets than a hot cup of coffee and chocolate-glazed donuts from Susie's. The occasional DUI or domestic disturbance. Human sacrifice. But every town has a dark side, right? We sure are getting a heaped help in the darkness now, eh? The Walking Dead and worse besides taking over our town. Us survivors hold up in here, hoping it's all just a bad dream and we'll wake up to the smell of bacon and maple syrup. But unless someone ups and does something, and soon, all we're gonna wake up to is the smell of rotten flesh. And I don't need another thing to remind me of my dad. Halloween does bring back the memories, eh?
So while you obviously can't form a solid opinion based on one cutscene, going to expand upon the points, and I'll reference other sites which have done impressions and reviews of the Secret World, such as MMORPG and MMO Culture, their points and reflections regarding their high regards of the story. So firstly, I'll refer to MMORPG.com. Quote from one of their articles was, "One thing the Secret World definitely gets right is its story. Story has been focused on by AAA MMOs ever since Star Wars was in development and BioWare started pushing the story angle. However, in Star Wars it was rather cliche. You knew what you were getting into. The Secret World does an amazing job with story because you don't know what you are getting into. They do not give you all the answers, they only ask the questions. With snippets of information and the ability to choose my skills freely, I was way more invested in the story than I've been before in any other MMO." So the main point here is that the author enjoys that the story and the environment and everything like that isn't extremely linear, and you don't know what's going to happen. And I felt that the same way too, because I could talk to my friend who was playing, and he was embarking on completely different quests. Not completely, but for the most part different quests, and finding out different information about what was going on in the world than I was. And especially because this game is levelless and classless, that just expands upon that point that I could be on one quest line doing it, and I could actually find another quest, and some of these quests, while I could do multiple ones at the same time, some of them will require me to drop my current quest. So if I find that interesting enough, I could completely drop what I'm doing and just approach the story from another angle, and that's something I really enjoy here. Additionally, I'm now going to refer to something by MMOculture.com, and they said, "I absolutely love the spooky and eerie atmosphere, the overall look and design, but sadly I am less than impressed with some of the game mechanics. At €49.99 for the initial game and 1 month of game time, I'll be saving up that amount for vanity stuff in Guild Wars 2 and Diablo 3's auction house. My prediction, free to play within a year." So, as I've addressed, a prediction that I share. And in addition, he references Guild Wars 2 and Diablo 3, which of course are both non-subscription based. And it begs the question that when the Secret World has to compete with like titans of games such as this, the fact that they're going subscription based on what I've played is really sort of doesn't make much sense to me. But let's divert to another strong aspect of the Secret World, which is the skill trees. And as you can see here, you use AP points in our skill wheel here, and you'll see disciplines such as, you know, fist, blade, hammer, assault rifle, pistol, what else is there? Shotgun, elemental magic, chaos magic, and blood magic. And usually, as you'll see, you could pick up both passives and active abilities. And usually you'll see in my hammer sort of discipline, I'll have one tree which is focused on offensive moves, and another section of the tree which is focused on defensive moves. And while I want to say that this is really great, I mean, aesthetically, with this wheel sort of thing, it looks great, and the fact that you could, you know, I could have a hammer and a pistol and have abilities in both of them and access both of them is great. And if I wanted to, I could train all these abilities and just rotate what I'm using for a certain case on a case-by-case basis. That's great too. But as you see here, I am in the skill point sort of, I don't know what you want to call this, ladder or whatever, and those are mostly passive things. And as you can see, I also have a offensive sort of passive that increases my damage, and a defensive one which will help me survive longer. The thing is, the skill trees and all are interesting because I could wield any weapon I want in the game and switch between them freely. But when it comes down to the actual abilities, they're nothing that great. I mean, I'll have my, you know, combo point or energy or whatever generating move. I'll have my one that expends it on a single target. I'll have my one that expends these combo points on multiple targets. I'll have some sort of slow as far as I could see in each of the disciplines I've played, which include shotgun, hammer, and the fist weapons. So the actual abilities, when it comes down to it, aren't that unique, and the combat isn't that unique that it jumps at me either, especially after playing a game like Terra, which is non-target based, and maybe I just got spoiled by that. So while I did enjoy the story-driven aspect of the Secret World, I feel everyone, and myself included, is praising the story and environment so much because other pieces are so lacking and uninspired. Also, the pre-order packages and the Grandmaster Pack specifically alarm me to the realization that Funcom may be selecting a business model that will generate the most net profit versus one that is actually appropriate for the particular game.